And so I'm so excited to hear this next person. Katina is going to be our next storyteller. And so again, Katina was here with us in the July show. So if you were here in July, you heard Katina. You also heard Ron, and you also heard Eldon, because they were both in that July show. So I'm so excited to hear her story. But I want to say she started Atlanta Bushwick Bookclub. And so if you're not familiar with the Atlanta Bushwick Bookclub, they just had an event on this past Saturday. They're going to continue to have events, but the way that their events work is that they pick a book or a couple of books, and then they invite artists of all kinds to come and to present their art, whether that be paintings, whether that be music, whether that be spoken word, whether that be dance, and it's all on the theme of whatever that book is about. So it's a very creative, just an amazing experience. I can't wait to go to one myself. I wasn't able to make it on Saturday, but if you have the chance, check it out. And so I'm going to go ahead and ask Katina to come on up, and so we can hear another amazing story.
So I come from a family of 5 children. There are 11 years in between my oldest and youngest sibling. It was a lot of fun as a kid, but I can't imagine the perspective of the parent. Like, I have 2 kids, and at times I was completely overwhelmed by 2. So 5? We were relatively good kids, but we were a lot when we were together. One summer, my dad hired a babysitter for the summer, and about halfway through the first day, she called her mom, and she walked out of the house and stood on the curb and waited to be picked up. And she never came back. And that was the end of babysitters for us. Like, miraculously, we were old enough to watch ourselves after that, which was kind of on par for the 70s, I think. Maybe technically, my oldest brother was in charge. He was the spitting image of a bookworm. He preferred to read the ingredients on the box of cereal rather than speak to any of us at breakfast. When he did talk to us, he was infamous for questions like, "What were you eating under there?" And naturally, very naively, we would say, "Underwear." At which point he would reveal a concealed cassette recorder, having then shown us that he had recorded us saying that we were eating underwear under there. That's who was in charge. My second oldest brother, Tim, was born with a heart condition, and he was one of the first babies to have open heart surgery. Tim loved art and horses and REO Speedwagon. One of my first crushes that I can remember, aside from the ones on my cousins, was on one of Tim's friends. And he was over one day, and I played Debbie Boone's "You Light Up My Life" over and over and over on 45. And then I went over to him and I was like, "Do you like Debbie Boone?" And he was like, "Not really." So my timing was off on that one. The middle child is my older sister, and she's always been a bit of a rudder for the family and still is. When she was a teenager, though, she had a penchant for sneaking out the car before she had her license. And she would take me with her, and we would go riding in the country and blasting music and singing at the top of our lungs. What was the song? Let me try to remember. "Wild thing, you make my heart sing, you make everything groovy." So that was us. I was child number 4, and when I started school every year, the teachers were really excited because my older siblings were smart and, well-mannered, and they would kind of get excited. "Oh, good, another one of these kids." And then that would wear off because, unlike my older siblings, I daydreamed more than I listened. My younger brother was not just the youngest in our family, but he was also the youngest grandchild. So he was kind of special to everyone. I should have played that Debbie Boone song for him because he lit up everyone's life and still does. I kind of owe him a lot because when I was a teenager and doing really dumb things, a couple of times I stopped because I thought about him, my baby brother, and I was like, I don't want to make such a bad impression on him. I want to protect him a little bit. So I think he got me out of a few scrapes inadvertently by me trying to protect him. I have a few core traumatic memories from my childhood. One is my parents' divorce, which was less of an event and more of a long-running serial drama. One of my uncles was murdered, and the death of my second brother, Tim. He died of consequences of his heart condition. His body gave out when he was 15, which was a couple weeks after my 12th birthday. Leading up to his death, my parents, who were irreconcilable, implemented a very strained détente in the house. And my mom, who had been living in New York City, moved back in temporarily. She slept on the couch in the family room because that's where Tim was. When a family member is actively dying in your home, they occupy a physical space that becomes like their universe. And everybody else kind of orbits around them and through the space, acting as if everything is normal, or trying to. But usually you feel like you're slowly sinking underwater. I remember the day that my brother died. I was in 7th grade, and I came home from school. I said hello to everybody, my brother, and the constellation of adults that surrounded him. And I quickly left the room to get lost in a book. I was deep into V.C. Andrews' Flowers in the Attic trilogy, which was furtively being spread around middle school. And there's nothing quite like the great escape of a book. My mom interrupted my reading and told me to go tell my brother that I loved him. I was like, what the heck? I was not the kind of kid that told anybody that I loved them aside from my parents. It was like being told to eat peas. I did it, and then I quickly ran back to my book. And I did it because there was something about my mom's tone that suggested I would regret it if I didn't. Not regret it like I would be in trouble, but regret it like I might not get the opportunity to do that again, which was true. My little brother came home from school next, and shortly thereafter, Tim passed away. When he died, it was like my family had been driving in a vehicle, and we suddenly lost control of it, and it flipped over, and we were suddenly somewhere else entirely. The car was still moving, but we were all in different seats, and nothing was ever the same again. For years when I was a teenager, I thought about the song Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here. That would remind me of my brother. How I wish you were here. It was in my musical wheelhouse and just the right amount of angst to make me think of somebody that I miss terribly. But decades later, another song topped the charts of the grief I still held for the loss of my brother. It wasn't just that he loved REO Speedwagon. It was something about this particular song that called to me. It was Time for Me to Fly. And, technically it's about a breakup, but it was the chorus that really called to me and brought me right back to that day that we lost him. Because it wasn't a coincidence that he died after we all got home from school. He had been asking, when are they coming home? When are my siblings coming home? All day. He's barely 15, but he knew that he was going to leave us that day, and he wanted to say goodbye. It's time for me to fly. I've got to set myself free. Time for me to fly. That's just how it's got to be. And though it hurts to say goodbye, it's time for me to fly. Love you, Tim, and wish you were here. Thank you.
it's time for me to fly. You said we'd work it out. You said that you had no doubt. Deep down we were really in love. Oh, but I'm tired of holding on to a feeling I know is gone. I do believe that I've had enough. I've had enough of the falseness of a worn-out relation. Enough of the jealousy and the intoleration. Oh, I make you laugh and you make me cry. I believe it's time for me to fly. You know it's time for me to fly. I've got to set myself free. Oh, that's just how it's got to be. Yeah. I know it hurts to say goodbye, but it's time for me to fly. Time for me to fly. You know it's time for me to fly. I got to set myself free. Oh, that's just how it's got to be. I know it